Give her a big hug. Yeah. She's a good girl. We're just standing in this breezeway, getting some wind. Get some water. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
Christopher?
Yes.
Should I call you Chris or Christopher?
Chris.
Chris? Go say hi, Sandy. Go. Yeah, your mama. That's fine. Oh, yeah. She's a happy girl. Yeah. We've just been out walking around. We've been here for probably about 5 minutes, just drinking water. Basically, both of us just drinking water.
Yeah.
Good girl. I'm Kelton, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry about the weird handshake with the button.
Nah, no worries.
Yeah, but any questions for me right off the bat? Let's see.
No.
No? Okay. Good job, Sage. So, she's been doing good. I'm sure you've seen we've put up tons and tons of videos.
Yeah.
Some of them are better than others in my personal thing.
Yeah.
Because I've kind of been able to spend a lot of time
Place is difficult.
She has had a pretty difficult time with it, yeah. But I did figure out some stuff with her that she's gotten a lot better at it.
Okay.
Especially in some of the more recent videos.
Yeah.
And then even in some stuff that I haven't been able to put up yet.
Okay.
She's done a lot better with it. Where she's now getting up on the place of her own accord and not having to push her so hard on it.
Right.
And she's gotten that figured out. And she's gotten much better at settling there. So
Yeah.
what I kind of want to do is, in this session, what we normally do, I normally take it as an opportunity to do two things.
Okay.
The first thing I normally do is explain a little bit more, because people normally are like, well, how does the training work? And they get a lot of that information on the evaluation with Christian,
Yeah.
but not all. So a lot of times we'll explain kind of like what we do, and then be able to give you more info on how Sage's training is going currently.
Okay.
Right? So a progress report. That's kind of the first part of it. And then the second part is I like to train you on some things about, because by the time this is over, you won't have to deal with knowing how to do all of the training stuff yourself. What you'll more have to do is know how to use it fluently. Right. And so I normally like to get people a few reps in, where they have some mechanical memory, because I can explain theory all day.
Right.
And that's cool and all. But it's one thing to explain it and another thing to do it with, physically, to do it. So I like to get people a little bit of muscle memory built with me.
Okay.
So with Sage, I was looking over her intake again, because the way that our system works is at the start of every day when we go to do the training, we have a dog board that looks something like that.
Okay.
Right. And so the way it ends up looking once it's finished is more something like this.
Okay.
Right, where it has each trainer, they have some dogs assigned to them, and then for each dog, they have a particular theme.
Okay.
So we think, and we've thought really hard about the things that matter to people, like what kind of scenes does the dog live in.
Right.
Right, because it's one thing to, we've trained your dog to sit, or to down, or to place, or whatever. Cool. But can they do that in the places where it matters?
Right.
And how do they behave when they're not in command, when it matters, right? Because if you think about a dog's lifespan and a dog's a microcosm that is a dog's day.
Right.
How often are they in command? In comparison to how often they're not in command.
Right.
They're not in command way more than we do.
Right.
Right? And so I don't like to band-aid over those scenes. And I think of the scenes as like scenes in a dog in a person's life.
Yeah.
So the scenes that we have like, all right, they walk,
Okay.
pass by things.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be recalled from distractions in a park or in a store.
Right.
And then people normally like if their dog keeps a somewhat of a radius on a relatively routine basis, which she's already pretty good at keeping
Right.
a decent radius. She doesn't go crazy far normally. And then guests come over.
Okay.
So door.
Right.
Somebody comes to the door or comes in the house. How do they act when guests come around? So that's why you saw that some of the videos aren't like that. It's basically a living room that we have set up.
Right.
And so we train them in a living room instead of just in a bare room.
Mm.
And people use that room all day. And other dogs are there using the room. So they get work with other dogs and people and
Right.
everyday activities happening, watching TV, eating food. So we do a good part of the training in that setting because, like, most of Satan's life is probably where?
Right.
And in your living room, right? That's like where like 80% of our life probably happens.
Yeah.
Right? So training there makes sense. And that's the same one. Scene 4 is also in that living room setting. That's like a place. But also it's not just place. Settle is not on place.
Right.
It's like then they settle in the living room and be good even though other stuff's happening.
Right.
And they're free, right? They're at calm liberty.
Yeah. Finding that level of content.
Yeah. And then public neutrality, that's a big thing for her.
Mm.
She doesn't have an issue where she's super reactive that I've seen.
Right.
She has an issue where she freezes up and gets scared of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's her biggest thing that I found working with her is her default response to pressure, either from me or from the environment where she perceives some kind of threat to her, is she just goes,
Yeah.
"Ah!" And she just freezes up like she just kind of panics a little bit.
Right.
She doesn't normally like take off running. She just kind of freezes up, right? So getting her out of that response and able to do something different that's less stressful for her,
Right.
and that is because it bleeds into other stuff, right? So when I think of like training the skills,
Mm-hmm.
the skills are a pathway to training deeper concepts.
Right.
So like a core concept as an example is how a dog responds to pressure
Mm-hmm.
in command bleeds over into how they respond to pressure overall.
Right.
So do they take some positive step, or do they just freeze up, or do they take off running, do they hide, what do they do?
Right.
Right. And so ideally you get some kind of positive step towards feeling better about things.
Right.
Like as an example, you'd rather her come to you and chill
Right.
than take off running and hide
Right.
in a corner if she gets scared or something, right? So teaching those kinds of things. And then the last one is backyard. A lot of dogs spend time in the yard. Right? And whether somebody has a backyard now or not,
Right.
it's useful if they know how to spend time in the yard. And so we train them in our training yards. And so in the training yards, we can facilitate something that's akin to a backyard, where
Right.
they listen in that area. So those are the scenes, and then we train certain skills. So each trainer, for any given session, like as an example in this session 1, so then scene was 6, so backyard, right? So in our training yard, and then the skill in that particular case with the dog Ramsey was 4, which is place.
Right.
And then the last two things that we have are the ES and the E, which I'll explain in a second. But the support skills we train sit, we train down, place, heel. And then we try to play with the dogs as a separate skill, as
Right.
well as part of the training as best we can, depending on the dog, what
Right.
they like. And then leave it, door manners, and walking on a shorter leash like this, 5 to 6 foot leash. So those are these skills. And then with those, there are things that are not on there because they're not like full robust skills that I can design. But there are things that we teach them. Those two things are just normally markers is what they're called. And all they do is kind of play Marco Polo with the dog. They teach them that if you say this thing, they did it right. If you say this thing, they did it wrong, right? So in her case, and with most of the dogs we work with, it's okay, and that means not only did they do it right, but they're released from whatever commands they're in, so they're free to do whatever they want. And very often that's a huge reward for the dog because you both release the pressure from being in the command, and they get to go do whatever they want now.
Right.
And so depending on the dog, there might be more or less time that they're free for them to feel like they're back to a neutrality state where they're back to baseline.
Okay.
Because if I go back into a command before they hit baseline, it's kind of like if I gave you a math problem that was hard for you to solve, and I was like, dude, solve it. We were like, and you figured it out, and then I was like, good job, take a break.
Right.
And then 20 seconds later, I came back and was like, all right, new math problem. You'd be like, oh god, because you didn't have time to decompress at all. Right. So during the training, we always allow they have to go down to baseline, and then we can do a next trial and try it again. So it depends on the dog. You might have seen some of the videos. You're like, is he going to train the dog? Some of the ones that are where we're in there together, is he just hanging out on the couch? He just took a video of us hanging on the couch. Because for place, I noticed she had really weird reservations about it, and so what I did is there's I think there's a video on there that's almost an hour long.
Yeah.
Where I think I do 4 place repetitions. Because I'm I need to really allow her time to get back to baseline.
Right.
Because the other reason that we track across each scene and then we track the support skill is because in each scene they could be at a different place.
Right.
When it comes to how we grade the support skill. And so I track that across time. Because with each skill that we do, we grade the skill for that session. How did they do? Right? So the 6 grades we can give they don't know that at all.
Right.
Or they require a lot of help. We really have to give them a lot of help to get into position. So help is something like if I wanted her to sit. Sage, sit. That's no help, right? No help was required. It's verbal only.
Right.
Because something that would be help is if I was sit.
Right.
Right? I'm showing her a hand signal. Hey, get that boogie out of there. Ew. Anyway. Is a hand signal would be help. Or if I was sit and then did this.
Right.
That's help with the leash. Or if I said sit and she didn't and I said and I tapped the e-collar.
Right.
That would be help. Because all of those indicate to her that she needs to do the thing.
Right.
And some of those actually guide her into doing the thing. Right. Or even something as simple as this. If I go sit and then I go like that, I'm using my space. I'm putting pressure on her with my face.
Right.
By engaging her to get her to sit. Right. Exactly. So all of those things indicate help. So when you're first teaching a dog command, normally it's heavy help, right? You're showing them a lot. You're really having to help them get into the position, to really guide them into the position before they do it, right? Then you're going into complete with active guidance. That's just normal help, right? Where I go sit, I go Sage sit, and I go like this, I sit, and then she sits, right? But then really the next one would be light help. Light help is where I just kind of go like that, or I just kind of step in just a little bit. Right. So all she requires is a very little bit of help. Or if it's a down, I can just like that, and she downs. Right. Then verbal cue is where what I just did with her when I asked her to sit.
Right.
She did it. Right. And then the last grade is it's a verbal cue, but it's reliable. Having to help on that particular command in that setting in that scene is almost never. She does it every time with just the verbal. She doesn't really almost ever need help.
Right.
And so the goal is that across each of these support skills, it's verbal and it's reliable.
Right.
That's the end goal. So what helps with tracking across both of those is that, as an example for her, after the first couple of weeks, every few days I review the board analyses historically. I look across each one.
Right.
And what I learned about her is that if the place cot's here, right, if there's a place cot there right now, she does it much more smoothly. But in the training room, in that living room setting, she resists it more and doesn't want to do it. So it's interesting.
Couch.
Probably. Yeah, she loves the couch. That's actually, I think that's a good hypothesis. Yeah. because funnily enough, in the training room,
Yeah.
she doesn't want anything else as a reward other than to get on the couch and get pets.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, a secret to dog training, is that very often, like, you think of people have a very one-track mind about what to give as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's like treats, that's very common, or like praise.
Right.
And it's like, they don't think of anything else.
Yeah.
But there's like hundreds of different positive reinforcers you can give.
Yeah.
I had one dog that I tried a bunch of different things with him. He didn't care about them, and then I figured out that like what he really wanted was just to like roll over on his back and do belly rubs.
Yeah.
So like I trained him to heel and to sit and to middle and to down and to do everything. At the end of all of it, I would say okay, and he would just immediately flip over on his belly, and I'd give him belly rubs for like 45 seconds. But you did so good, buddy, and then that was it. So like with her, she does really great in the training room if I just let her get on the couch and pet her. And then she's just like, that's like the best possible motivation for her. She loves it,
Yeah.
and she's super happy about that, right? So that's what I was using.
Because most of the time for her with toys, it's if we're outside in the backyard, we got a rope.
Yeah.
Throw the rope, she'll go after it, she'll do that, but she'll never touch the rope inside for any playing whatsoever. She might bring it inside
Yeah.
to what we call squirrel away, because she will hide stuff in the
She'll
back
hide
of her
stuff.
kennel.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, she doesn't rarely, will play with toys or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, house definitely, she loves that.
Exactly. So I found like if I find something that's like hit or miss, sometimes I'll try to develop it if I think it would be useful.
Right.
And that like in the time that we have, but like in her case, like you said, like getting her to like really play hardcore.
Yeah.
I haven't had that much success. So instead, I just observe the behavior and I pick alternatives. Right? Like what matters to her?
Right.
Because ultimately, what matters to them, what's motivating to them, is individual.
Right.
I've had other dogs like they're obsessed with the ball, obsessed with the tug, or I've had dogs that like every time I like just reward them by I just point at the pool.
Right.
And they go jump in that pool, and they're like, "Woo!" She doesn't care about the pool that much.
Yeah.
She'll stand in it, but it's not like she's not like pumped to get in the pool.
We did find one instance where she used to like to go in the pond when she was with her foster.
Yeah.
But we've yet to take her to a body of water
Yeah.
just yet, because we wanted to have a little more control and kind of figure out, what are those triggers that cause her to want to take off.
Right.
Because she did take off on the last adoption and was gone for like 2 weeks.
Holy.
So
I
we're
didn't
like,
know
well,
that she was gone for 2 weeks. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
So
man.
we were like,
Holy cow.
What sparked, that? And it was gone
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, not coming back, but just, gone. Somebody else found her, and then they scanned her and then took her back to the rescue.
Yeah.
But and that was during her trial period with that family. But
Yeah. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then, finding those triggers. Some of the things that I found are triggers for her that, fortunately, training helps with. I think that, like the one that I touched on earlier was her major thing that like causes that kind of issue is that her response to pressure has been either to freeze or if she thinks she can, she'll try to get away and hide.
right.
And so making it clear to her that just does nothing.
Right.
That doesn't work. It doesn't help. It doesn't get her out of it at all. And then
Yeah.
the pro with the e-collar is that you can take that understanding from the leash to off the leash, right? Because if the dog's on the leash, like with Sage, she's already figured out at this point that if she's on the leash and she feels tension on it,
Right.
she's not getting away. Like there's not anywhere to go.
Right.
Right. Even if it's all the way out and I let her run and she goes somewhere, if I lock that leash and I put a little pressure on it with this, like this, and I tap the e-collar or something like that, like, there's just come back to me. There's no sense in continuing to do this.
Right.
You're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be more pressure, and you're going to be frustrated. Right?
Right.
But then as soon as you come back, everything's awesome, and
Yeah.
like things are cool, and like we're going to hang out.
Right.
So it's taking that and removing the leash from the equation, and making it where she has that same understanding with just the e-collar. Right. And then what happens over time is you normally will always have the e-collar on to obligate for safety.
Right.
But over time, the idea is that she wears the e-collar on a regular basis, and probably 90% of the time, maybe 95% of the time that the collar is on,
Right.
they don't even get used.
Right.
Because what is a mistake a lot of times people make is the dog doesn't listen, or the dog does something stupid, and then they're like, I'm going to get the e-collar, and they come and get the e-collar, and they put it on, they wait for the dog to do the thing again, and then they use the e-collar.
Right.
And then they're like, see? And then like the dog doesn't wear the e-collar again after that very often.
There's no association that's made.
Right. Well, the association that's made there is, if the e-collar's on, I better not screw up. But if it's not on, I can do whatever, because they can't obligate anything. But if they just wear it every time that you take them out to go do stuff, and like it doesn't get used maybe 90% of that time, then they're just like, oh, that collar doesn't mean anything special. So that's why one thing I'll caution you against, a lot of times people have the habit of doing something like this. Show the dog the e-collar and be like, hey. And then if they don't listen and they use it, what happens then is the dog thinks that this has power. You don't want that. You want the dog to think you have power. So that's why this stays right there. And I might reach to change the level, and I might reach to use it, but normally I have this button, and I'll use the button. If you don't have the button, you can just reach and do it like this, but you shouldn't make a show of it to the dog. Right? You don't want them to think anything. You want them to think this is just like a paperweight. It does nothing. It means nothing. Same thing with the collar. It does nothing. It means nothing. So the next thought here is we're working through these. So I can tell you roughly like where she is at each one of these. For sit, she's at 6. It's verbal and it's reliable. With down, she's at a 4 right now. She still needs light help. Until just probably 4 or 5 days ago, she was still at 3. And sometimes we go back and forth depending on the context between 2 and 3. But I've been working with her on down a lot. And she's gotten where she now just needs light help. I did actually, earlier while we were walking around, I got the first one where I said down and she down. And I was pumped about that. I was really pumped about that. I was like, yes. Because that took some time with her, because she just... I'm like, you can do it all the way. You can do it. So she's getting better there. And then with Cub, it's either 4 or 5. It's either light help or verbal cue. And I'm getting pretty close where I'm getting confident that I can start to use a long line out in public. And start working it that way, where I'm not using the line at all and she's just walking around. Probably my next outing will be on that. And then in the yard, I've been letting her do things without the leash on. And she's coming back pretty reliably without having to use the leash. She's not trying to run to the corner or doing anything stupid. And then place, she's at 4 and 5 now. Which is nice in most contexts. And then heel, that's at like 3 and 4 right now. And sometimes we get to 5. We get a verbal cue only sometimes. But it just depends more on her emotional state at the time. And then play, we talked about that a little bit. Leave it, I haven't had an issue with that at all. Because she's very sensitive to the verbal correction now, because it got backed up by the e-collar. So that's one of the other things, is that if you say, as an example, like, okay. If I said okay, and then the leash was still like this, and I was like, okay, and then she was like this, she can't go anywhere. It's not much of a release. So then okay doesn't have much meaning to her, because it's not really charged by anything awesome. It's not backed up by anything cool. Same thing in the reverse, though. And this happens to people all the time, where they train with us, and when I say, she doesn't like that at all. Okay, good girl, come on. Yeah, I did that just for show, right? But they'll have like a really like strong like, oh crap, like, and see why she just shook off. When that shaking off, when they dry shake like that, that's just a coping mechanism where they shake the stress off. Because hearing that noise come out of my mouth is stressful. Where she's like, because it was followed in the past by an actual physical correction, like a pop on the leash, or more likely just a tap on the e-collar. Like, oh, right? So the reason that's important is because dogs, you can't reason with them and talk with them like people. Because like I could really affect you just by telling you like, hey, like I didn't like what you said to me, and explaining it to you, and you're a good person. So if I like explain to you that you hurt my feelings, and it was rude, and that would affect you.
Yeah.
They don't like have that capacity to like communicate in that same way.
Right.
Unless there are, to a certain extent, like they can understand if you're disappointed with them, as an example. But ultimately, the start of that comes from some kind of physical correction.
Right.
Because if you look at two dogs, they play together. One of them doesn't like how hard the other one bit them. They go,
Right.
and they snap at them, and the other dog's like, "Oh, homie, like my bad." Either that or they get in a fight. Right. Because that's how they communicate with each other, is like through some kind of physical medium, right? Because they understand that very well, so that's how they do it. So then you have to use the same kind of mediums with them that they use with each other. Sans biting, you don't have to bite your dog, right? That'd be really wild. If I was like, dude, like bite your dog, you'd be like, bro, what is? Sure, where did you learn to train dogs?
In the past to keep them from my daughter's dog.
Yeah.
Had a habit of always, nipping at people or whatever.
Yeah.
When she didn't get her way.
Yeah.
And so, all it took was a couple times, and I did. I nipped back at her.
And she was like, "Oh,
she was
crap!
like,
What the fuck?
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do that again." Yeah. And so, like, it's funny. Like, there's a lot of different ways. That's the other thing is there's so many ways to do it, right? You could do it with like a little swat on the nose. You could do it with a little and like a pop on the corner, like Susan Milan does. You could do it with the e-collar. You can do it with a prong collar. You can do it with a flat collar. You can do it with almost any medium.
Yeah.
And so then the question is normally two things. One, what's the most effective? And then the second one is what's the most nuanced way to do it, right? Because ideally you do it in such a way that it's as corrective as it needs to be, but not too much.
Right.
But it needs to also not be too little. People often make that mistake where they're like, "Oh, I want to be nice to the dog," but really, the calculation I do in my head is this frustrating to the dog? Because there's two possible ways that you could be mean.
Right.
One way is by being unclear. And then they're frustrated for longer because they can't figure out the puzzle because they didn't get enough information to figure it out.
Right.
And then the other way is you could go way too hard on them.
Yeah.
Right. And people often do the first one, but they don't realize that they're prolonging this dog's lack of clarity.
Right.
And they're frustrated for a long time because they can't figure out the puzzle because you're not giving them enough information to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So the last thing that we record for each thing is we record like what's the environment like.
Okay.
So we have the room, the yard, the park, and the store as kind of general stuff.
Right.
And then we have like special, and I'm looking to explain if it's something that doesn't for some reason fall in these categories. And then we have 3 or 4 ratings for each one. So for the room and the yard, we have 3 each. It's like, is it quiet? Like you're just kind of like in there by yourself with the dog?
Yeah.
Is it moderate? Like there's some stuff going on, but it's not crazy? Or is it really busy? Right? Whether it's the room or the training yard.
Right.
And then we record for the park and for the store, we have 4. The first 3 are the same. Goes, kind of really quiet or moderate or busy.
Right.
And then the last one is like, if it happens to be like big event level, like crazy, like where there's like hundreds of people all jammed into one area,
Right.
then we would want to record that as well because it happens every once in a while that we go somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So the reason we record that is because, again, it gives us more information about the session, and it's like, I don't want to think the dog has regressed on this skill if what actually happened is they were put in a new context that was insanely busy,
Right.
and so they did worse on the command.
Yeah.
Right? And then the last one is emotional state. So the 10 that I have on there are they like panicked, like in the red zone,
Right.
where you can't even really work with them in that state at all? Or are they sketchy towards the handler? Sketchy towards the handler means they're thinking bad thoughts towards you, like they might bite you or something like that. They're being sketchy. 3 is they're kind of frozen up or shut down. 4 is they're hypervigilant. That's when you see a dog
Right.
the whole time you're like doing something, like on a walk or something. I had one dog where like almost the entire training program was up.
Yeah.
He's just doing that the whole time. Then we have wary of trainer, right? right? Are they like kind of like this while you're working with them? Like, ooh, that happens sometimes, and we record that because we want to figure out why, what happened, right? Like, why are they acting that way? 6, they're like mad and up to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't see her that way very often, but sometimes dogs, like some of the dogs, like they're like mad and up like that, like almost every time, right? 7 is they're just kind of tired out, they're flat, and so then it's like, well, you kind of got to look at like, well, what did they do that day, or like how hot was it, or stuff like that, and then we might change things based on that.
Right.
8 is they're just kind of neutral. She spends a lot of time in the neutral zone, or 9 they're just really chilled out.
Yeah.
She spends time in that zone a lot, and then 10 is they're happy and they're resilient. And she comes in and out of that. Sometimes she's like that. Sometimes she's either 3 or 4, or 3 or 5. Right. Sometimes she is a little frozen and shut down, and so then like normally at that case, we either make way longer breaks in between the times where we're asking her to do things to finish off the session and get her to end on a win, or we just stop the session, bring her back out later, and keep hopefully in a better psychological state, her emotional state's better, and then we can get better results with the better emotional state. And then 5 is where a trainer, she's gotten that a few times on her grades, where she's kind of like looking weirdly at one of the trainers or at me. And I think that's because of when she gets really sensitive to the pressure. And so then what normally we have to do there is we have to look at that and go, all right, how can I make that picture wrong? So like as an example, one way that you can quickly cause a dog to start feeling wary about you is if every time you call them to you, say, come, good girl, yeah, good job, wow, okay, is every time I call her to me, I make her do a thing. Something that's hard for her. So if every time I say come and she comes to me, I go down, or I go sit, or I go whatever it is, and then I have to put some pressure on her to get her to like do it, I have to help her. Then next time I say come, if I do that 15 times in a row and I say come, she's going to be like, I don't know if I want to. It's going to suck if I go over there. You're going to make me do stuff. Right? So then you have to cause a prediction error and just call them over, and then like what I just did there, I'm like, good girl. And like we just chill together after that. So some dogs that matters less, some dogs it matters more. With her it matters a lot. For over this training process. So we end up having to spend a longer time period with her, even though we're doing less total reps. But that's okay, because you can learn as long as those repetitions are quality. And quality is mostly determined by how clear the communication is with it. Sorry.
No worries.
When I yap a lot, I start to get thirsty. Good girl. So that's all the stuff that like that's the majority of the stuff we track. We also put on like notes and stuff like that. And what I'm working on is getting together like a way to make a report, like an analysis of like a week or like 2 weeks or something like that I can send to like you guys, to the dog owners on a more regular basis, because sometimes it can be helpful to like look at like, oh, these are all the sessions they did. So I'm working on doing something like that soon. But in the meantime, at the very least, we record more than I think the majority of dog training companies that I've ever seen, at least, in terms of how much we record, because we record the majority of every session. There are some, in Sage's case, that didn't get recorded in full, or that didn't get posted for one reason or another, but a good number of them have been. I think there's probably, there might be 20-something videos up with Sage now, I think. Something like that. I might be wrong, but I'd have to check. So, the progress she's making is really good. She's on the right track, and that's kind of like all of the progress update part of this. So then for the other part is like, all right, well, when you get her back, how can you make sure that by then her training should be finished? How do you make sure that it's gonna stick? And that you're going to be able to use it successfully. How do you reinforce it? How do you penalize mistakes? How do you do these kind of things? And so for that, a lot of what's involved is likes to lick my beard. She lick your beard?
She likes to lick everything. Kisses are her favorite thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure you've seen a lot of kisses in some of the videos.
Yeah.
I like to do the kisses on the couch. So dearly, oh yes, yes, scratches. Yeah. So the biggest thing that I like to get first is normally like a basic understanding of how it works, and then mechanics. So a basic understanding of how it works, I'll give you like a really short breakdown on it. Dog training is everything that we just talked about. So you're looking at all these variables: emotional state, environment, individual quirks with the dog. All of that stuff is ridiculously important, right? And figuring out how to motivate them, what's rewarding to them, and what their hang-ups are, and then working with those. But then on a more basic level, one paradigm that people have thought of it through, and you have to add all this other stuff on top of it, those are some of the layers you add on top, is at its basic level, it's the same as it is with people. We do it all the time. As an example, you get in your car, you don't put your seatbelt on, you drive away, what happens? Ding, 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 right? Yeah, and then what happens? You put your seatbelt on, it goes away.
Right.
And you're like, ooh, because it's annoying.
Yeah.
So that's an example of what in behavioral learning they call negative reinforcement. So there's pressure goes away when you do a certain action, which makes you more likely to do that action next time without experiencing the pressure. So at first you learn how to escape it. So if you got in there and you had no idea why it was digging, you'd start pressing buttons and doing things and try to get it to go away. And then you would find the right option, and that's what you would do every time.
Yeah.
Because then you can just totally avoid it. Right? And that's the idea. You learn how to escape it first because there's some pressure, and then the pressure goes away when you do that thing. And then once you know the precursor, right, you turn the car on and drive. You know, oh, I can avoid hearing that dinging at all if I put my seatbelt on before I drive away. Right. So with her, like as an example with a down, when I put a little bit of pressure like this, I say down, I put a little bit of pressure. She escapes the pressure by going into the down. And then rinse, wash, repeat. She learns, okay, if I just go into the down, I get rid of the pressure right away. And then I get released, and that's it. And then from there, you have to increase the pressure some for them to learn, I don't want to even feel that at all. I want to avoid it. So I'm just going to down as soon as I hear down. And then they avoid it entirely. So that's how you teach with negative reinforcement. And you can do that with anything. And then positive reinforcement is normally what I use on the other side of that is there's the release from freedom, release to freedom, and then there's something good on the other end. They jump on the couch, or they jump in the pool, or they play, or they just go sniff things. Whatever it is that the thing that motivates them, they get to go do a bunch of that. And so then you get a double whammy. You get the negative and the positive. So they remove the negative by doing the thing, and they get the positive. So that's normally how you teach new things. The flip side of that is how you get rid of things you don't want. Right? And so some things require that. As an example, if the dog wants to jump all over you or something like that, or jump on your guests or whatever it is, you normally penalize that. So there's two ways to penalize. You can either remove something they want, so they have a thing they want and you remove it. So like that's where like the advice sometimes trainers will give for like jumping is you just remove attention. They want your attention, you remove it, you ignore them. Some dogs that works. Some dogs, they don't care about that at all, and they're jumping on you because it's fun, and they don't care if you're turning away from them or turning towards them. They'll just keep jumping on you. My dog will. She'll just jump on me. If I turn around, she'll just jump on me on the back. She doesn't care, and she'll try to hunt me. She's terrible. She's a lot of fun. But I'm really lax about the jumping thing with her because I like it, but my wife doesn't, but I do. So, but she's also 100 pounds, and when she jumps, she's right in my face. But she's an Anatolian Shepherd.
That's our main thing is that because my wife is tiny. So when Sage stands up, they're eye to eye.
They're eye to eye. Wow. Yeah. No, so Sage hasn't had much of a jumping issue with us. How big was that jumping issue for you guys?
Really wasn't. So she didn't do it. She didn't do it to me, but she would to my wife. I think part of it was a mutual, okay, I want you to do this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But my biggest fear was when she does get the zoomies,
Yeah.
she is a much more athletic dog than our dogs in the past. We still have a Yorkie, but we went from only having Yorkies to
You
now
got
something
a little
this size.
muscle thing.
Right.
Here. Yeah.
And so when she gets the zoomies, she comes through
She's
the little room,
explosive.
and
Yeah.
she clears the whole entire couch. And
Yeah.
I said, okay.
Okay.
So imagine her coming at you like that into a jump. You're seeing eye to eye. You know, she can easily, you know, knock you over or knock you into something.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily what we want because she's happy. She's not doing it with any malintent, but she's really, really excited. You weren't ready for it.
Come.
You know. So that was our main thing was that.
Sage. Come. Good girl. Okay. Good job. So actually, that was a pretty good example of what you would do with jumping. Because that concern is sensible. That's a reasonable concern.
Yeah.
So the way that would work is she's going to come home with a really strong conditioned punisher is what that's called. So that marking word, that is a conditioned punisher.
Right.
It's conditioned because it's through association.
Right.
And if you want to keep it strong,
Yeah.
if she doesn't respond to it the first time you use it, you have to back it up with the eco. Or with something at least.
Right.
Because if you don't, it will, like a battery in your phone, you buy a new phone,
Yeah.
you charge it, it has a full battery, after
It'll
a
just
day or
start
two
to
it
fade
doesn't,
over time.
it'll fade over time, and then you'll be like the little boy who cried wolf, you'll go
Yeah.
and nothing ever happens, and she knows that nothing happens.
Right.
So instead, it's like, hey, if you say and she doesn't respond to that, she keeps doing what she's doing, or she doesn't do the thing you asked, you got to do something about that.
Right.
Right. So that's honestly one of the most crucial things that I have the hardest time getting people to consistently do, is penalize things or give negative reinforcement when they don't comply with the command. Yeah. So with the jumping, the quickest route is the other side of the removing access thing. You can either remove access to something they want, or you can make a bad consequence. It's like, if you think about like a kid, it's on one hand, you could take their, I don't know what, like a PS5, I don't know, you could take their PS5 or their tablet from them or whatever, or you could spank them, right? Taking something from them or adding something bad.
Right.
Right? And which one's more effective depends on what they care about more.
Right.
And in the kid example, a lot of times they would be more hurt if you take away their thing than if you spank them.
Yeah.
And that depends on age and temperament of the kid's life.
Right. Yeah.
With a dog, very often the spanking side, but insert dog thing, is going to be more effective than the removing access. That's going to matter more to them.
Right.
And it's going to teach the lesson faster. So say the dog's got the zoomies running towards you,
Right.
or just goes to jump on you, and you go, right, but a little louder than that, so she pays attention to it. And you go, and then you tap the e-collar,
Right.
and she goes,
Yeah.
right? And you go, don't do that, no. Right? And maybe you act a little disappointed, like, why? I told you not to jump on me. You're not supposed to jump. And she goes, and you see it, you need to see it. If she's still like, it didn't affect me, it didn't work at all. No punishment happened, right? You have to see it in the dog. Just like if I was like, good girl! And she was like,
Right.
I don't think she got rewarded.
Yeah.
Right? But if she was like, woohoo, yay! Right? Then it's like, okay, she's doing this. She's like, yay! Okay, then she got rewarded, right? She's happy, right? So same thing on the flip side. So with the jumping like that, yeah, you go, and then you attack the e-collar. Hey, I told you not to do that. And then after you feel like she's gotten the point, then you go, okay. And you go, good girl, great job. And you reconcile, and you go, okay, let's go. She's like, oh, okay. And she's happy again. She's okay. And you guys reconcile. You're happy now.
Right.
Right. And then you just rinse, wash, repeat. If she goes to jump again or something like that, you do the same thing again.
Right.
And if she does get the point fully each time, then you don't have to do it that many times for her to figure it out and then 99.99% 99% of the time. It just doesn't happen anymore. She decides not to make that choice because she gets penalized.
Right.
Kind of like with most people, it's effective to give tickets for speeding.
Right.
With most people. Right, and if you take their license or do something big enough, then most people will stop doing it. Some people don't because of addiction, but most people are like, yeah, I'm not going to do that because that's a very big penalty. It's very inconvenient, right?
Yeah.
So, which equipment have you gotten so far?
Everything.
Everything? Great. You have it in that bag?
Yeah.
Came prepared. Why don't you open it up? We can look at it really quickly, and that's normally a thing I like to do is show you how to use each of the pieces of equipment, what they're for, how they can help.
So e-collar.
Yep. Let me see. Okay, you got a nice flexi. Very good. E-collar. Okay. So beautiful. We used to let people get cheapo e-collars, and they said, this one's nice. Yeah, this is a mini Educator. Beautiful. Okay. So the way this thing works is, you see, it should always say C, because if you press this button on the back, M and C, it can change the mode to where it says an M. I found that button to be, like that particular way of setting up the remote to be completely useless.
Yeah.
It just changes how long the shock is,
right?
And it makes it where it's so short that it's on other units it's called a nick.
Yeah.
The continuous is only barely any longer, but I found much more useful. And then these buttons, this S button that's black, whatever this is what that button will do. So if I press it, you'll see. Oh yeah. To turn it on, this one, you press this, you hold this down in the back, and you'll see it turn on, and then this little red thing, you put it into the other end there, and now it's turned on. And so now if I press this, you'll see it blink.
Yeah.
And so this red one, you can see there, it says 13.
Yeah.
It's doing it on 13. If I press the red one, see how it says 18?
Yeah.
Right. And you can change how much that jumps. So it's a boost, basically.
Right.
Where then you don't have to change this right away.
Right.
You have a level that you can jump up to.
Right.
And then obviously this changes the level for the shock.
Right.
And then this one can either be set to a vibrate.
Okay.
Or it can be set to a tone. I normally set it to the tone.
Yeah.
I don't use it that often. The reason I normally set it to a tone is because then I can make this and make sure it's on.
Right.
I use it as a tester to see if things turned on. Because I haven't found that it's incredibly useful otherwise.
Yeah.
It can be used for things, but normally anything that it could be used for, I can also use my voice for.
Right.
I can make a sound with my voice.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be attached to where, say, if I made that their recall is the sound.
Right.
I can't make that sound with my mouth.
Right.
And so then if that's their recall, I have to have this. Otherwise, and if I don't have it, I'm out to lunch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just changing it over for you. So now to make a sound like that. And that's very useful because then if I want to turn this off, because one of the big things people sometimes do is they turn this off and they think this is off.
Right.
And then they go to put it on the dog the next time and it's dead because they didn't turn this one off.
Right.
So you turn it off the same way you turn it on.
Okay.
So I normally turn this one off second and I turn this off, or I turn this off first and then I turn this off. Because then I can go like this, okay, it's on. Turn it off.
Okay.
I press the tone, it's off. So then I can turn this one off.
Okay.
Because if it's not on, it won't work.
Right.
You hold her for a second. This thing, the way it works is it's not an incredibly, it's not like a taser or anything like that. It's more like a TENS unit.
Yeah.
It does, like a TENS unit, if you turn it up high enough, it can become uncomfortable. But like if it's on a 5, I actually can't feel the 5 at all. If it's on a 10, I can't really feel that either. I start normally feeling it around a 15.
Right.
Yeah, you saw my muscle jump?
Yeah.
And then it just goes up from there.
Okay.
With every collar I've ever used, I've always had it on my neck and turned it all the way up and used it.
Right.
Because I want to know.
Yeah.
Before I put it on my dog, right? So the other thing that we will probably do our next session is in our next session, we'll obviously have her, you'll get to see her,
Right.
and you'll see lots of videos in between. I'll give you like a briefer progress update since you know how the progress, so how we track everything, you've gotten all of that. I've explained to you how most of this stuff works. I would probably put this on in our second session and let you use it on me. I do that with every client now. I've been doing it for a little while because the way I think of it is this. If you get a new piece of equipment and there's things like timing and muscle memory and all this other stuff involved, and then you have to figure out how to do it right on your dog,
Right.
and you're trying to get some muscle memory together, and you're like, oh, wait, what do I do? Because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The first time when I was first learning how to use an e-collar, I was like, and all these thoughts are swarming through my head. Right? Like, I need to do this thing, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, and then like, okay, I need to do it in this order, because you have to be verbal first, always, and then you always make a consequence after.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, verbal first, and I'm like, sage, down, and then if she does it down, then I'm like, okay, now what do I do? All right, all right, no, and then I press it. But then what happens is, since you don't have any muscle memory, when you go sage, and then you tap it, and you go and then go. Then she thinks, okay, down. I get the e-collar when he says down.
Right.
And then instead of responding to down by downing, they respond to down by going, like you said, right, which is a problem. So instead of having you practice and you have your experience happen on your dog because it can screw her up because she doesn't know why you're doing it, I have you do it on me, and normally within like 10 minutes, I can run you through the different commands and how to like reinforce them.
Well, I hope so, because you got reinforced.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and because for me, he ain't gonna mess me up. I don't care. Like, and I'm gonna have you run through like protocols, like okay, like whether or not you need to go up or down. Right. And I'll expect you to go up or down on me based on like what I did. Right. So, like as an example, say I'm like out here, and you go, pelt and come, and I don't come, and I go like, no. And you go, and you tap the e-collar, and I still don't want to.
Right.
So, then at that moment, you're going to need to go up. And I'll expect you to do that with me, right? And then you go, and again, and then I'm like, oh. And then I come back, right?
Right.
So in that second session, we'll practice that together. Because one of the biggest things that people, the reason that I've had people not do as well with their dog in our program isn't because the dog, but because they didn't get enough practice. They didn't get enough education. I talked with them and educated them on the theory, and then they got zero practice that was guided by somebody who knew what they were doing. And they just tried it on their dog, and for all they know, they think they're doing it right, but they're doing it incorrectly. And they mess the dog up, and it doesn't work. So I avoid that now by being like, all right, I'm your dog. I'm going to act like your dog. I'm going to do the things your dog does because I know her. I know them. And you're going to respond to it, and then I'm going to critique you and give you feedback and allow you the difference between me and her. I can tell you what you're doing wrong. And then I can do exactly the same thing again and let you do it correctly. Whereas if you do the wrong thing with her, she can't tell you, like, Dad, that made no sense. That was completely unclear. I have no idea what that meant. Now I'm freaked out. She can't tell you. And she definitely isn't going to give the behavior again 2 seconds later so that you can practice it. I can't.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do in the next lesson.
Okay.
But this is set up for you now.
Okay.
This makes the tone. And then you figured out, it seems you've already charged it.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just these. I normally make it a habit to put it up every night and charge it. For her levels, the number means almost nothing. The effect that it has on the dog is all that matters. Because this number, in terms of like whether it's effective or not, can completely change based on context. Dog's all amped up doing stuff. this might need to go up. If
Right.
you're sitting chilling in the living room, and you go sit, and they don't sit,
Right.
and you go and they still don't sit. You put this on a 50, they're going to be like,
Yeah.
right, because they're just chilling,
Right.
right? So then it's going to need to be a lot lower. So you can judge based on context and their reaction.
Right.
And so then that's also a skill that we'll practice together in this next lesson. But like for today, when we were out on the walk and I was reinforcing the down with it, I think I had it on like a 10 or a 15 because she's pretty sensitive to it. Yeah. There's been a few times where I've tried it higher in certain contexts to try to see if that was going to be more effective for her or if she froze up.
Right.
And I'm finding that doing it lower and making sure that it's really clear and waiting longer. She also takes a little longer sometimes to do it. So stopping, giving space,
right,
keeps her from freezing up. But hopefully by the time you get her back, the idea is that she'll just listen the first time, so you won't have to worry about all of the training technique.
Right.
You'll just have to worry about doing it right.
Yes.
Yeah. So cool. That's how the e-collar works. The only other recommendation I have for you with e-collar is that
because it makes it a little bit easier.
Because I can't stand walking around with the thing around my neck.
Yeah.
It's awful for me personally.
Yeah.
So I recommend getting a little car key circle and a carabiner like this.
Yep.
And you can just hook it on your pants.
Right.
Because that's completely out of the way.
Yeah.
You don't accidentally press it. I don't recommend you put it in the pockets. Because even though this thing is pretty hard to do that with, it's still because of the way it's shaped.
I was about to say it's
really
a
nice
shape too.
Yeah. It's really nice to hold.
Yeah.
Because you can do this, you can spin it and touch it.
Right.
From a variety of angles. You can spin it here and touch it.
Yeah.
You can spin it here and touch it. So it's, that's why I like these e-collars and I have everybody get them. The second thing is, I think you have the Flexi in there, right?
Yeah.
I can show you with this one.
I do have that.
The Flexi is God's gift to dogs, I think. There's a lot of trainers that don't like Flexis and they think they're terrible.
Uh-huh.
They're wrong. I'll just be honest. It looks like you got looks like either a large or a medium. This is a large, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing's fantastic. These are really well built. They're strong. They have a little break in them.
Yeah.
The reason that I like them so much is this is 16 foot or the 26 foot? Probably 16.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
This one's a 26, but it's just because I use it with like lots of different dogs. Some dogs need more room than others.
Yeah.
She doesn't need the 26 to be honest.
Yeah.
She's probably not going to go out there anymore, most of the time, but not on walks at least.
Right.
So the reason that this is so useful is because it can be any length leash you want, and it makes it where you can reward the dog very easily.
Right.
Because if you have a 6 foot leash, this is all you got. And you go, okay, and you're trying to release to freedom, and that's your big reward for them.
Right.
That ain't a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
But if you can release to freedom and they can go all the way over there,
Right.
that's pretty good. Pretty good. They can go sniff the bushes and go do their thing. So the Flexi is really good for that. It's also good because then walks become more enjoyable for both parties.
Yeah.
Because you can let them go sniff things, da-da-da-da, and then if you have commands already, you can go, hey, come.
Right.
And then this becomes just a prop.
Right.
You're not constantly using this, but you have it if you need it.
Yeah.
So instead, what you're doing is something like this. The Flexi, the leash becomes a prop where you're like, here, well, let's go. Good girl. And then she goes, oh, come. Good girl. Sit. Okay. Right. And so then like this is just like a prop.
Right.
I have it in case I need it, and for legal purposes, people don't get mad.
Right.
But in a real life walk, I might use this at most a couple of times. But as I get deeper in a training program, I try to avoid using the leash for help as much as possible.
Right.
So that you get them. That's how you start getting them towards off leash reliability.
Right.
If you stop using this as help.
Yeah.
Right. Let's try it down. I don't know how it's going to go. See it. Sage, down. Okay, good job. So you can see the health is really light health now. So she's in that 4 for most of the Because she knows it. You saw how she went like this?
Yeah.
She went, and then she was like, and she sat back. I was like, come on. So then if I just kind of like do a little light tap, and she's like, oh, okay. And she goes into the down. And so now, the way that I'll get her from here to me doing the same, she does the same thing she does with sit as she does with down, is just by doing repetitions of that, but then increasing the pressure from escape to, I want to avoid that.
Right.
I don't want to feel that at all. And then she'll I think over the next couple of days, she'll get this down. So she's doing good with everything, but this becomes a problem. So I'm a big fan of these.
Yeah.
Especially the better your dog is trained, the easier they are to manage.
Right.
Complexity. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, figure out. Well, do you have any other questions about anything current? Her health seems fine. I can't find anything on her.
Yeah.
And she spends a lot of her time outside, and then she spends time inside. She goes back and forth. Because she does fine when she's in the crate.
Yeah.
And she likes.
Yeah, that's her safe space. She loves crate.
Yeah.
She'll crate herself sometimes. She'll
go in there and chill and doesn't want to come out.
Yep.
There's been times like earlier today I opened the door and was like, "Come on out, Sage," and she was just like.
Yeah.
And so I just like left, and like she didn't come out, and I was just like, okay.
Most of the time we don't even have to close the door. She'll just
stay in there.
Yeah. She'll go in there and she'll crate herself.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
And I found that she really likes we have 10 by 10s with big roots. I don't know, maybe, I don't know if there's a video of that on the website. There might be, I have to ask Christian, but like they spend time out there too. She loves it out in the 10 by 10. And there's like other dogs around, so she gets a lot of exposure to other dogs.
Yeah, she loves being outside. She loves being outside, period.
Yeah, she always seems happier after that.
Yeah.
So we let her spend a lot of time out there, but she can't stay out there all the time because it's too hot.
Yeah.
So she has to come in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some girl, especially with her breed.
Right.
Some breeds, like my dog, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Like she pretty much just lives outside, and she's an Anatolian Shepherd, so she just doesn't even, like, it means nothing to her.
Right.
They were designed over time to just, like, they were meant to be left alone in the hills for 24/7 for weeks at a time with the flock and run all day. So,
right.
But that's not what she was bred for.
Yeah.
So the heat affects her a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of it has to do with snout length.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you don't have any other questions,
No.
for this one, okay. And then when is the second session scheduled for?
On Tuesday at 1.
Tuesday at 1.
Trap
Okay.
Supply.
Perfect. Yeah, that should be good.
In Angier, or not? Yeah, not Angier. Lillington.
Lillington? Okay. Very good.
I think it's Lillington.
That sounds good. If anything changes with that, I'll send you a message.
Okay.
The only reason something could change is if I decide I want a different venue based on something that's going on for training. Yeah. Security. That sounds really good. And
Actually, yeah, so Tuesday.
yeah, because
Tuesday.
whatever the admin says,
Lillington.
is what I have to do. Admin's also my wife.
Okay.
In this particular case, her name is
Yeah.
Emma. She's really cool. I'm a big fan, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's fun. High energy.
Yeah, very high energy. Yeah. Well, that sounds good then.
Yeah, we enjoyed her.
Yeah.
Sage.
It's good.
You know, mommy wants a picture. She's like,
Yeah,
where's my baby?
My baby. Oh.
Yep, she's gonna love that.
Yeah. Good girl. She's very beautiful.
Silly.
Well, she gets lots of love while she's with us, so
Yeah, we see it.
I'm sure she's going to do great when she comes home, and I can't wait for the finished product. Yeah. And then it'll just be my job to teach you guys how to maintain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good girl. And that's why I try to, in at least some of the videos, to get some commentary, some instruction on like what I'm doing and why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good girl.
So
Sage. Good girl. Good job. All right. Well, try to stay cool, man. Try to stay cool.
I love it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. I like it just fine.
How
With one exception?
I work in the hottest places around the world.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
I'm an intel specialist for the government.